We're going to here doing our mock 6.0. We're going to do a super flex full PPR league. We got two very special guests here tonight. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Am I going first?
You go first, buddy.
Hey, here I am, Dr. Kevin Murray here, FF Unlimited. Um, Looking forward to drafting the best team I possibly can tonight.
I'm David with True Serum. I do some articles, some podcasts, some fantasy football stuff, do the football card stuff. I basically just do a little bit of everything. And of course, own every mock draft I'm in.
Love it.
Yeah, so so before we got on here, we were talking about we were at the Fantasy Football Expo together, all of us, and we actually ended up doing the Fresh Prince League and the draft night out. How do you guys feel about your guys' teams?
I have nobody on my team. I think it's gonna own. No, there's some kind of mess up. They didn't put my roster in, but I mean, I liked it. I didn't prioritize the quarterbacks as much as a lot of other people, but it let me front load with a lot of time. I mean, I got Chubb, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins, my first 3 picks, so I'm happy with that. A little risky with the QBs. I think I have Mac Jones, Drew Lock, and Trevor Lawrence, so we'll see how that goes.
You know, it's hard. You know how it is when you leave a draft. You always think you got the best team, right? Because of the players you picked. I felt good about it. You know, I liked having Kyler Murray start out. I'm excited too. You know, I like the upside there. The settings, I didn't see that you know. I thought there would be a flex where you could use I thought there would be obviously, but I thought there would be a flex that I could use a wide receiver and a max. If you're starting a second quarterback or only starting 2 running backs. So I probably would have prioritized wide receiver a little bit more as opposed to the running back depth that I got. But, you know, we'll go for it and see how it turns out.
Yeah, I kind of prioritized wide receiver just because of, I always that's one position I just always want to be the best at through a draft. And I'll probably do that in this draft. Maybe we'll see how it falls. I don't ever want to stick to one strategy, as I'm sure you guys are the same way, and you guys want to be fluid throughout your draft. We'll go ahead and get this draft started here, and again, it's a super flex 1 PPR or 1 point PPR league, and go ahead and get things started. I got the frick here.
Where are you guys drafted?
Where were we drafting?
No, where are you guys drafted? Yeah.
Oh, I got the 101 there. I drafted Christian McCaffrey, slam dunk pick, so pretty easy call on that one.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think I've had him once in my entire college football or fantasy football illustrious career, because I've never had the number 1 pick. One time, and that was in a year when I was in, I think, 33 leagues or something.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was terrible. I'm never doing that again.
We just did a lottery for our home league last night, and the same guy every single year gets the 12th pick. Every single year, it's wild. But we have that draft coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I don't mind being at the end of the draft necessarily, because I feel like you can kind of control the way things go if you can do it right.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely an advantage there. It's just, you know, the guy obviously always getting 12th. he wants number one. He wants the top. He wants to sniff at least the top half of the draft sometime.
It looks like we gone Patrick Mahomes after Christian McCaffrey, and Kyler Murray, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon, and Nick Chubb. I think it's been pretty standard so far. Not really any reaches or anything like that. Yeah, we'll see what kind of goes on around this turn.
Yeah, once McCaffrey, Cook, Henry, Kamara are gone, I feel good with a quarterback in a super flex to start off.
I'm surprised Elliott didn't go in the first round though.
That is a surprise.
To me, it almost seems like they might have to depend on Elliott more this year. Now that with the recent news of Dak Prescott, maybe not being the same for the whole season, maybe they're going to have to depend on that run game a little bit more than they used to. Could even see a little bit of Tony Pollard sprinkled in.
Yeah, there should be a little more balance.
I kind of thought that he would still be there around the turn, and I wanted Adams. I didn't want Hill, so.
You show up on my heat list.
That's one thing that I sometimes do that kind of bites me in the butt is I'm like, all right, I think this guy's going to last till my next pick, so I'm going to go with somebody else, and it doesn't always help.
Yeah, I was just about to take Eckler in that spot. So I got sniped, but I'm a big Antonio Gibson guy, so I'll take him here.
So where do you kind of have Eckler and Gibson? I think I have them like 11 and 12.
Yeah, exactly. I have Eckler right ahead of Gibson, but yeah, they're right there. I think this draft pretty much hits my order my rankings on a T. I'd take Jones.
I'm not as high on Gibson as everybody else.
What's that?
I'm not as high on Gibson as everybody else.
Yeah, there's definitely
they still have JD to take away from his receiver. In PPR anyway, they still have JD to take away his production. Then they picked up Samuel. I don't know. There's something about him that kind of irks me a little bit. I have him in most of my leagues from last year. All my keeper leagues, he's one of my keepers. I'm just a little nervous with all the people they picked up.
Yeah, no, I understand that for sure. I just, I wanted a running back in that second spot. I like him over Harrison, Mixon, and Dobbins.
Listen, you can't minimize my screen. I'm on something. The screen literally just shrunk because she stepped on my mouse. Nobody cares what you think, Zach. Oh, thank God you took Kittle. We've decided that after that mistake last night, I either have to go all in on Kittle and become his biggest fan, or I need to Kittle's going to be the person I hate for the rest of my fantasy career.
Probably not something that I almost normally do, but since I don't find when I have the one pick, he's usually there. Usually Kittle's gone. Usually right before I can get him on the on that back turn. So. Looks like we had a question here, Patrick. What would you value his trade value? An RB1 and a wide receiver one plus another player? To me, it kind of all depends on what your what your team needs are. If you need draft picks, I'm guessing this is a dynasty question. If you need draft picks, obviously you're going to want that. Maybe get that in a high upside running back in return with probably 2 first rounds, high upside running back, and maybe upside wide receiver. You could pretty much get the bankroll for Christian McCaffrey. I've turned around and turned Christian McCaffrey into a whole damn team. So it's possible to do it.
All right, so Metcalf, Brett. I was hoping Prescott would slip to me here, pair him up with Allen. I'll go a different route. You always got to pivot in drafts. Obviously, it usually goes the opposite of where you want, right?
I mean, yeah, I always go in. We were actually saying something about that earlier. I go into the draft with a mindset, but you have to be ready to completely abandon that if you have to.
Yeah, you gotta be fluid for sure.
I mean, for example, over there at the Expo, I did not want to take Mac Jones in the ninth. He could have lasted longer, but there was a run on quarterbacks. I only had Trevor Lawrence, and I was like, you know what? I like him. I think he's going to do well. I better grab him while people are snagging, the other backs up. He could have lasted longer, I'm sure, but I couldn't risk it, which of course was not my plan.
All right, I'll go with Hopkins. I'm okay with that.
Well, that screws me. I was totally going to go Adams Hopkins. I was okay with that. All right. Coming the way over here, dude?
No, I was gonna lay it this end, so I'm not bugging you.
You don't ever bug me. That's not true, but yeah.
But I wanted my baby pillow.
Swifty.
Don't worry, I scrunched my feet up. I was just fixing my baby.
Hmm. I mean, I guess I'll grab the last of the top 3 tight ends there.
Yeah, it's good. Good
I tried
value
to
there.
Kelsey in the second round in every draft I'm in, but lately he's been going every time earlier than what I want.
Yeah, people are definitely jumping on that tight end advantage for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have that 10 there and not have to worry about, filling that hole at any given time,
I mean, that's what I do with Kelsey most years. I just pick him up early, and I mean, every week except for his bye week, he's in there.
Yep. Looks like we're at that running back that, kind of falling off now. So
Yeah.
I feel like once we get to that Miles Sanders level, it's kind of dried up. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I was hoping that Carson would get back to me, and then it just
I feel like he's like the, pretty much like one of the last volume guys before you kind of get to that drop. I don't really trust a lot of the other guys.
Yeah, he's nice to have on your roster just because he's just steady. He's going to get volume. He's going to score touchdowns, catch a few passes. But yeah, you're right. The rest of the way, it's kind of you got to swing for the fences. Hopefully it works out your way.
Zach wants to know who we have as our 4th tight end.
Who do I have as my 4th tight end? That's going to be. So I have T.J. Hockenson as my 4th tight end. I just can't put Pitts as my 4th tight end.
Yeah, I like Hockenson 4, Andrews 5, Pitts 6. I just obviously it's nice to have a guy that's been there and done it a little bit. I mean, I love Pitt's upside, speaking of swinging for the fences, I want to have a little bit more running back depth, so I'll take Darrell Henderson, and hopefully he gets a ton of volume and makes it work for himself. Not my favorite.
Yeah, what was it like? the first 6 weeks of last season, he was a good person to have on your team if you were playing him. Or like I got Fishbowl last year, and he was absolutely dynamite for those first 6 weeks. So
He looked good. Yeah, he looked good, and then obviously didn't. Akers emerged, but he's talented. He's talented, and he's obviously going to get a big share of the load. So there's so many wide receivers. I just typically in drafts like this, I want to make sure I get some decent running backs.
sure.
So my fourth tight end, it had been Hawkinson most of the preseason, but I kind of flopped it back to Pitts, and solely because of I think Hawkinson has more opportunity, obviously there because they don't have any receivers in Detroit to speak of, but I also think that means that he's going to be queued up on more. And Pitts they have more weapons over there to distract defenses. So I think he's going to be able to do more with it.
Yeah,
I do like for Henry as well, but
I wouldn't necessarily say they have more weapons. I mean, they do have Calvin Ridley. I don't know if I necessarily think of Mike Davis as like a huge threat to anybody.
No, but if you go back to last year when Julio was out, Russell Gage popped off. I mean. And Calvin Ridley was able to be the number one man in that offense. So that they have more. I mean, they have more weapons than Detroit. You have Swift back there, but I mean, he's in my opinion the same as he's. I mean, he's a little bit more talented than Davis, but only if he can stay on the field. I like Javonte, but their wide receiver core is just shattered.
I mean, Russell Gage for the Falcons, he's going to be pretty steady. He's going to be a nice little plug and play guy that you can have on your roster for Atlanta. And like Detroit, like speaking of Amon St. Brown or whatever, between him, Perryman, Terrell Williams, it's gonna be a pick 'em, I think, at least for the first 3 or 4 weeks until we kind of figure out who Jared Goff's main target is in that offense. Tom Brady came off. Mark Cooper.
Yeah, I was going to take Brady.
I was too. I was hoping he would fall.
Yeah, he should be a nice piece to own this year with all those weapons he has.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of weapons, there's a few in Tennessee.
One or two.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that that receiving core and that running game, and how do you expect like defenses to be able to contain those guys?
I mean, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, again, Tannehill, I mean, he's just a solid quarterback. He gets the job done, and with weapons and the running game, I mean, I think they're just going to chip away at defenses every week. I don't think Julio's the Julio we know, but AJ Brown and Derrick Henry, I think they're just going to be primed for a huge year. And I think Tannehill, I don't think I'm going to be getting with this roster, be getting massive weeks from Tannehill, but I think just as a steady QB2 in a super flex, I mean, that's as good as it gets to me when it comes to just consistent production.
Yeah, I feel we're kind of at that. Now we're kind of like at that drop off point for the quarterbacks now. I feel like we kind of dried up the first bit of quarterbacks. Now we're kind of getting into that third to fourth tier.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead.
With that last pick, I was gonna go Brady. He went, and then I had Tannehill and Stafford, and that's where I wanted to kind of stop. Holding out for that QB2. Otherwise, I would have waited a while. But Burrow and Lawrence, I like that. I mean, if you haven't got a quarterback yet, that's there's a lot of upside there.
I mean, my thought there is not so much with the Jags because they're not terrible on defense, but the Bengals didn't really improve defensively, so he's still going to be slinging it. And both of those offenses have. I mean, it's not like Lawrence has no weapons there. So if he can live up to even half of the hype that he has, he'll put up numbers.
Yeah, that's great. I love the Adams and Allen with Zeke and Waller. I mean, that's a solid roster you're putting together. You've done this before.
Once or twice. I wanted Herbert with Allen. I love Herbert with Allen. I paired them last year, and it's almost as bad as Rodgers with Adams. Like just the tunnel vision he has for Keenan Allen. He's his safety blanket. I think he'll be more comfortable in year 2 and spread it around a little bit more. But last year it was definitely, first look, nobody's there, Allen right away.
Yeah.
Stephanie wants to know if we think Cooper is still the WR1 on Dallas after CD's rookie campaign.
I love CeeDee Lamb. I a lot of times looking forward, you got to imagine what's 2022 going to look like. I think that we're going to be talking about CeeDee Lamb as a top 5 wide receiver potentially. I think he's going to put together a massive year as long as everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, I don't think it would be insane if he ended the season like even top 3 this year, with the way that defense is so bad and the way they're going to have to sling that rock around. But yeah, I definitely think if it's not a CeeDee Lamb like right away to start off the year, it's going to be by about week 5 or 6. You're going to kind of see that transition over, and that CeeDee Lamb will eat up the majority of the targets, and he'll probably be Dak's main focus on the field.
Yeah, that's the guy you want for the fantasy playoffs. In my opinion.
I kind of like. I think CD is going to take over there and end up as the WR1 by the end of the year. But value-wise, I kind of like Gallup better than both of them. People seem to forget that he exists, but all 3 of them almost had 1,000 yards last season, and he was kind of ignored by the other quarterbacks compared to what Dak does with him. So if Dak stays in, I think it'll be more balanced, and you're getting him later in the draft.
That's the kind of guy where in cases where you don't always do this, but getting two wide receivers from that squad. If you get Cooper, get Gallup. If you get Lamb, get Gallup. Get them later on, because the chance there's out of 3 of those wide receivers, there's a chance there might be some injuries in there. So Gallup's the kind of guy at the later on in the draft that could be massive for several weeks if he gets a big opportunity.
I'm glad somebody took Lockett, because I'd ended up taking him next round, and I like the guy, but I have terrible luck with him. Every time I play him, he'll get like 1 catch for 2 yards, and then I'll bench him, and he'll get 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, consistency is not his thing in fantasy. He's an incredible football player, and Russ loves him. It's just, Russ spreads it around, and sometimes Lockett just doesn't get it.
Yeah, I heard one person describe it as, he just goes into the game, the room, for each game and just looks at DK or looks at Lockett and says, "All right, today's your day," and
Yeah.
that zones out. Huh. Two rookie QBs. All right.
Trying something a little different here.
I mean, it'd be great for a dynasty for sure.
Well, like I really wanted to go like Trey Lance with that second one, but like I don't know exactly when his opportunity is going to come. But at least Zach Wilson will be on the field for all 16 or all 18 games of the season, so or all 18 weeks or whatever, however you want to say it.
How soon do you think Fields takes it? Because they're still saying, they're still pretty adamant about Dalton starting.
Well, I think they kind of changed their tune now. It sounds like they're just saying now. What was it? They said that he's their starter week 1.
Yeah,
So
they
they're
said we
not
have
committing.
to see him play in the
Yeah, we
regular
have to see him play in the regular season. So to me, I think it's only gonna. I just don't think they're gonna trout the rookie out there against the Los Angeles Rams. That's like my biggest thing. I just don't think that's a recipe for success to put a rookie out there against the Los Angeles Rams defense.
So who do you think is the last of the 5 first-round QBs to start this year?
I don't. Well, it could end up being. It could end up being Lance technically. I think he's probably like if because my thing is I love Lance and I like a lot like Dynasty. He's probably in a rookie startup. He's probably my 101 super flex. But like if we're like talking like this year and this is a redraft league, I just not for sure because of their schedule against the run is so easy this year. Like they have one of the easiest run schedules or the easiest run schedule. And if Mostert and Sermon are both healthy and they're able to run the ball and control the clock and use the defense, they're not going to really have to depend too much on Garoppolo really swinging it around. So I mean, they can win games with just a QB manager, at least to my belief. So I don't think there's any really necessary reason to really trout Lance out there this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll be, he's probably the lead candidate for being last at this stage. Although, again, if he gets that opportunity, fantasy-wise, he's got more upside than anybody just because of the rushing abilities. So definitely a guy that you could stash, at the end of your roster or keep a close eye on him, depending on how big your roster is, as a free agent potentially in a normal kind of redraft league down the stretch. That might be someone you want on your roster come fantasy playoff time.
I just want to give a shout out. She said, thanks, guys. Love the show. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for the compliment.
So I am still under the belief that it would probably, it's going to be either Lance or Mac Jones, in my opinion. I just think mixed with the injury history of Garoppolo and the patience of Bill Belichick to just, to wait that Mac Jones might start after Trey Lance. I don't think that San Fran wants to put Trey Lance in right away, but, I have no faith in Garoppolo to last, even halfway through a season before, he stubs a toe or whatever.
Which is very well possible. I mean, he's had that kind of injury history, throughout his whole time in San Francisco. I mean, we'll see what happens there. It could be one of those situations too. Like, I think it all kind of depends on too, like where their standings is at. Like midway through the season, bye week, kind of deciding like what direction the team wants to go into from there. If the team feels like Garoppolo gives them the best chance to win, they're going to stick with Garoppolo. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, absolutely, and like I said, that's why I think that Mac Jones is especially in New England's offense the better choice over Cam Newton. But if Cam Newton's doing even halfway decent, he's patient. He's just going to leave it in there.
I have no faith in Cam Newton at this point.
Oh, I don't either. But again, halfway decent. I don't know. Like, there's also been news already that both of their tight end pickups are banged up already. He might not have any help. They might have no choice but to run with Mac Jones, because we saw last year that he can't run the team on his back.
Yeah, and they're already talking about not using him at the goal line so much, and I don't know. I think Cam Newton won 2 years ago, and I just don't think I give him a max of 10 games before we see Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think with Cam, I mean, he might as a veteran, he'll probably get a lot of respect in that locker room, and they're solid to probably compete even if he doesn't just completely ball out. So I picture him, longer than Garoppolo. I think that situation is a little more fluid. I mean, you draft a quarterback top 3, strong chance he plays, 10 plus games.
Any bets on Danny Dimes, whether he steps up this year with all the new shiny weapons, or he's never been a sixth overall pick?
Yeah, that's a rough one. I don't have a lot of faith in him for sure. We'll see. He's definitely got a lot to prove out there.
So to me, like, I don't think you've even seen flashes of it. It doesn't make me very hopeful that he can really like take a step to really become something, even with all those weapons around him. I mean, he's actually had, I think, pretty decent weapons around him his entire career. I mean, he's never had a receiver like Kenny Galladay, but at the same time, like, I feel like you would already seen it if he would have had something there. Like, you kind of seen where like Josh Allen progressed into what he became. Like Danny Dimes, you've never really seen him progress at any level.
Well, not to mention, we don't even know if Galladay is really as good as he's presumed, because he's always had. Wow, name just
Stafford.
flew right off. Stafford throwing to him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I love Galladay, but yeah, it's true. He's got a lot to prove as well.
God dang it, Jeff! It's like every time I think of something, Jeff takes it. We did the same thing last night.
Oh, with Thomas?
Yeah, I figured. I mean, Thomas falling to the 9th. I mean, yeah, he's got all these rumors and stuff, and he was hurt, banged up last year. But if he drops to the 9th, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So the most recent thing I heard about Thomas a few ago was that it was looking like between week 3 and 6 possibly for a return, and I would have took him in the double-digit round, but I won't take him before then. So, like, if it would have dropped me down somewhere in the 10th. But, it's not really that far of a reach to getting. I mean, like, if you're there and you feel like you have a competitive team and you pick him up there, like, he's going to probably end up winning you the league.
He certainly can. I mean, he's as talented as he gets. He just needs to be, healthy, and that's a big concern. Obviously, last year with the foot, and this year, I mean, there's definitely concerns there. But 9th, 10th round, I mean, sure, take a chance.
I gotta stop looking at it. Every time I look at it, somebody reads my stinking mind.
Zach Kurtz chiming in. Danny Dimes has a longer career than Zeke. Just saying.
Is full PPR correct?
Yes.
I'll go with Hines.
I really like what you're building there. I really do. Like, I love Michael Carter. I love the quarterbacks. I love even Sutton there.
I mean, Sutton was one of the higher round wide receivers last year. He's got a lot of talent, and from everything I've heard, he's back to almost 100%. So now, obviously, his quarterback situation's a little up in the air, but
Yeah, it's solid roster.
Yeah, I don't think I'm completely out on Drew Lock yet. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I'm not either. I think last year, between the injury history the injuries on the team and everything else that went down, he just kind of got the short end of the stick there.
Yeah, I mean he's obviously the most talented quarterback in the league, but he's definitely capable of slinging it, and that's what we need for those on Denver. I mean, I think Sutton and Judy can
And Hamlin
can still play well.
I mean, they got a lot of weapons over there, and they have a running back stable of they got Javante now, and Melvin Gordon isn't terrible, at least along the goal line. Like, they have every weapon that they could need for each situation. Yeah. They just need a QB, which I think is hilarious with Elway being. I mean, you would think that would be his forte. The rest of the roster would be crap, but Elway, being a Hall of Fame quarterback, could draft a quarterback.
Yeah, and just them passing on Fields, no matter what happens with Fields, you got to take that chance. When you're in that situation, you got to take that chance. And he was there for him, and they let him go.
I can tell you what, as a Bears fan, I'm really glad that they didn't take that chance.
No,
I've been telling people this. I've been telling people this. It's like, like people like, oh, you guys had Trubisky and you drafted him ahead of Mahomes and Watson. It's like, like the potential was there because of his size and all that, and like it was never like I don't want to speak from most Bears fans, but I don't think a lot of us were really overly enthused to have Trubisky on our team when he was drafted there. And I feel like it's a whole different ball game having Fields drafted. I feel like we just completely 180. Like we just love Fields right away. Like I feel like a lot of the fan base is all in Fields, and we're all going to back him.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to have that excitement. I mean, it's great for the fan base. There's so much to be excited about with a guy like Fields, and for teams to pass that up, that's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, so I went ahead and I got Antonio Brown there in the 10th, which I feel like is a great value. Whenever I can get him that 9th, 10th round range, I always go for Antonio Brown because I feel like he's you're getting him that late, but who's to say he's not going to provide the same kind of production that you're going to get out of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin early in the draft? You know what I mean? And then Philip Lindsay, I've been hearing too. He's been getting the first team reps, to my understanding. So we'll see if that kind of turns into something. I mean, it's obviously a dart throw at this point, but if I can get the possible RB1 even on a crappy team, I'll do it all day. Zach chimed in. Love me some Gus Bus.
All right. I like Ben's comment here too. Ben says that Mahomes would have been crap on the Bears. It's the coach's system, not any particular quarterback. I mean, if you were to choose, I want to say it would have to be Mahomes if it's not Brady, because Brady seems, I mean, he lifted all the talent up in New England. They didn't have weapons, and then he wasn't good fantasy wise until last year. We went there to Tampa Bay with all those shiny weapons. He kind of feels system proof, but he's also been playing forever. Do you think Mahomes could do that in any other system? What he does now, or is it because he has all these weapons of KC?
I mean, the system and the coaching staff and the weapons definitely help him. But he's all wise. I think he would be an all pro wherever he landed. I mean, he's not Mitchell Trubisky, right? I mean, if he was at the Bears, he would have done something. He's that.
I mean,
talented.
and if you think about it, if you look over there, I mean, other than a tight end, and we don't know where Cole Kmet's going to go yet, but Mooney is almost as fast as Hill from what I've seen, and he has good hands. And then they got Allen Robinson, who's been good with.
I mean, yeah, Mahomes and Robinson would have been a dynamic pairing.
Zach says that's not fair to Mahomes. Everybody would be crap on the Bears.
All right, I'll go with.
See, these are just all personal attacks against me at this point. Yeah, I think Mahomes would have been just fine on the Bears, and not to brag or anything, but I think we could have had a chance to beat the Eagles instead of going for a double doink if we would have had Mahomes on our team.
Yeah, I would say that's a safe bet.
Especially you can see Mahomes, he can throw deep. You know, like one of the reasons they pulled Trubisky last year is because he missed a couple deep throws in that Atlanta game, and they're like, "Get the fuck out of here!" So they pulled him out of the game. It was like. Yeah, because he couldn't even carve up that fucking Atlanta defense, and that was just terrible.
Yeah.
Kevin is drafting in the 7 spot, Zach.
Yeah, he's the one with the 4-stud wide receivers.
Oh, he meant what NFL team do you like?
Oh, okay.
Seahawks. Yeah, I'm a Seahawks guy.
He couldn't have traded us Russell Wilson then?
No, that wasn't gonna happen. That was just posturing, just off-season drama. I don't think there was a lot there. We'll see.
From what I heard, though, is from like it was like pretty much a done deal, and then Pete Carroll stepped in and said pretty much like, "I'm gone if you make this trade."
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I think where, he did submit like hey, if you guys are really going to do it, these are a few teams that I'd accept it to, but I don't know if it ever got that serious. I haven't heard that story. Who knows?
Yeah, it was like
off seasons can be so be full of so many stories that are 10% true and 90% fluff, and you never know.
like the Rodgers drama. Like I never listened to that, so like every early draft that I did, I was always taking them like a round earlier than other people would take him. Like because I didn't buy into that he wasn't going to play. Like he's not going to leave all that money on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, I was hoping he'd get a chance to, that he'd go to like Denver or something. I would have loved that with those weapons, but yeah, I definitely didn't anticipate him sitting out.
Zach's over here saying no. He said, "Oh, go Pats! You guys should have ran it."
Oh man, I was at the game. I was actually in corner of the end zone when it didn't happen. That was it's not a pleasant memory. It would have been a pretty big deal around here for sure, getting that second championship. The way that people would have looked at the Hawks, with that in that run, it would have been a little bit different.
Yeah, it would have seemed like more like a dynasty than a.
Yeah.
I lost quite a bit of money on that pass. There was a post up the other day asking what your team's biggest mistake it was, like in the NFL. What your biggest mistake was as a team. And while I mean, again with the system proof thing, my answer was everybody who picked the 200 and some people before Tom Brady. That was their mistake.
Yeah, there you go.
But I still couldn't get over, realistically, sports-wise, the biggest mistake of any team was I was a Charlotte Hornets fan growing up. Muggsy Bogues was my guy. And I still can't believe that they drafted Kobe Bryant and traded him before he played a single game.
Lottie Divac. Yeah, that wasn't good.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen in sports.
That's pretty bad.
That was like the same with the Milwaukee Bucks, because I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. So like when they drafted Milwaukee Bucks, they drafted Dirk Nowitzki, and then they traded to Dallas for tractor trailer. And that's got to sour on them a little bit. But at least they got Giannis now. They got Giannis now.
Yeah,
I can't stand that guy. He's a great athlete, but I mean, first off, I don't like his name. I think I'm just biased because of his name. I don't like it the way his name is, and I don't like his face. I don't like it. I don't like him. He bothers me. I was really hoping that they lost this year. I'm just sick of hearing about him.
Yeah, I really thought Phoenix was going to pull that off.
Honestly, I basically stopped watching basketball the moment that my team, because again, I was an original Charlotte Hornets fan. So now, I was a New Orleans fan. But the moment that they decided to call themselves the Pelicans, I just kind of lost interest.
Well, at least you didn't get your team stolen away from you, like the Sonics.
That's true.
I will never forgive OKC for what they did to us.
Yeah, I heard they're looking to extend. So maybe Seattle will get a team back.
Yeah, I mean that's the hopes. I'm sure they're first in line.
That's quality analysis there, Zach. I mean, you think that's bad. I have a brother of mine who, like, we're kind of estranged, and he looks exactly like Joe Flacco. And I'm a Steelers fan, so my team had to face this team twice every year. Your phone's ringing, dear. It was like I had to watch my brother face my team. All right, this next one, I mean, we're at the end of the draft, and there's not a whole lot left in the running backs anyway. But with New England's situation and what this guy's done in the preseason, I'm gonna go ahead and get
my queue. I had one player in the queue, and that's who it was.
I aim to please.
Yeah, somebody was asking me about him at the expo, and I was like, dude, I've seen flashes like this, from Jordan Howard a few years ago when he was with Chicago. I mean, if they can continue to build on it, there's no reason why he's going to get a shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tank. I mean, that guy can take advantage of some backup defenders. We'll see what happens, during the season.
I just think with I mean, I like Damian Harris, and I even liked Sony Michel, but they're both they can't stay on the field, and that
exactly totally.
If Ramondre could keep rumbling, stumbling, bumbling, I'm down for it.
Yeah, no, I like that.
I thought about doing the same thing with tight end and getting somebody who I just liked because realistically, for some reason, every tight end that's the Steelers get now, all of them are the same build as Heath Miller.
Oh, isn't that
So I
funny?
thought about getting Freiermuth, but
Yeah.
there were too many good tight ends still, whereas the running backs, they were already pretty hit, so Stevenson didn't feel too bad.
No, that was solid.
Did you double up on the running backs there in LA?
I did, yeah. I did that a couple times. I did that with
Arizona, too?
Arizona running backs as well.
Oh, sorta.
Sort of, yeah. I just,
Kenyon
I
Drake
don't
is
mind the
in.
handcuff.
He's a Raider now.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that wasn't what I was planning on picking.
Damn it! I was gonna take Malcolm Brown there.
Where?
All right.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, Chase Edmonds went way in.
I was going to take Malcolm Brown with my pick, and then I'll take Brian Edwards.
I was not
I'm fine
excited
with
about that. That's funny.
Yeah, so you guys want to just talk about like your any thoughts about your guys' team? Anything you would change?
I mean, yeah, I'd have the first 12 picks off the board. But no, realistically, I mean, I like, again, my thing with Superflex is always my quarterbacks. I go young and I go, high potential, but they're not exactly proven yet. And I try to stack the rest of my roster first.
Yeah, I really with Superflex, I definitely want to get a couple quality quarterbacks. So I'm happy with Allen and Tannehill. I took the upside, if potentially Watson gets back, we don't know about that, but in this draft, I'll take that option and see what happens. And then obviously, I love Gibson, Henderson. You gotta hope things work out there. Definitely, I took his handcuff just to ensure that position. I love my receivers. I love, obviously Hopkins is Hopkins, but I like Woods, Judy, and Claypool. I feel like couple, those guys are gonna have solid seasons. Tight end, Higbee is the only tight end I took, but I think in LA with Stafford, I think that he's definitely gonna get targeted quite a bit. Obviously, I'm not thrilled with just overall running back depth, but that's just the story of 2021. There's not a lot of it, so. You got to hopefully your top couple guys stay healthy, and you got to hopefully everything works out for you.
Yeah, so I took Christian McCaffrey, followed up with George Kittle, Calvin Ridley. So like usually like my base, I'm like trying to shoot for all volume. So that's kind of what I did with those first three picks. I just felt like those were maybe the highest volume guys that then I get the onesie position with the tight end there. Javonte Williams, I think he could be a second half winner for me. He could even come out of the gate, and be a stud running back, especially it might be same thing with Chase Edmonds. Like if he's the guy and he gets the majority of the carries. I don't really necessarily love having two rookies. I feel like Justin Fields, though, could provide a safe rushing floor, but at least Zach Wilson will start the whole year. We'll kind of see what happens with that. I talked about Philip Lindsay earlier, and then I kind of just took some shots on Antonio Brown there came, like I said earlier about, him possibly, getting some scoring opportunities with Tampa Bay. They should be a high-powered offense. Brandon Cook's going to get volume as well. Zach Moss could take over that one role. Same thing with Philip Lindsay. Got Elijah Moore there. I mean, he's a rookie. We'll see what he can do. But obviously pairing him with Zach Wilson to kind of make a little bit of a stack. Russell Gage, and then Brian Edwards, which we've been hearing some positive things about him from Derek Carr and the rest of the coaching staff this year.
Solid. I like it.
All right. Anything else you guys really want to discuss or talk about, or otherwise we'll kind of just wrap things up and call it a night?
I think we got our objectives met. I think we're ready to rock this league out.
It does amuse me how like looking at the board, how many wide receivers and running backs go off the board, but the wide receivers at the end are still people who are. I mean, you got T.Y. Hilton. He's been great. Now he's been hurt recently, but these are great wide receivers. And then you're on to like third string running backs, and people are still, having to snag them up.
Oh, all over the board. I mean, I'm like Chenault at 10-10. Even like a upside with maybe like a Ruggs at 12-11. Bunch of guys that I'd love to have on my roster. Whereas you're right. I mean, running backs, you don't see them. You got to scoop them up early.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job of sweeping anybody that's going to maybe be kind of that fantasy relevant guy. Yeah. So I think that'll do it for tonight. Thank you for coming in and watching us. Thank you for having or coming on with us, Kevin. It's definitely a pleasure. We'll definitely do it again sometime. If you guys haven't already, give Kevin a follow. He's on Twitter at FF Unlimited. You can see it down in the corner here. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. I'm sure any fantasy advice you guys probably need. Kevin is a great guy for it. Great dude. Met him at the expo. We're gonna play in a league together. So me, him, and David. We also got Mike from Serum Football that's gonna be in that league. Should be an interesting ride. We'll see who comes out on top on that one.
I did have a question about that one for you guys. I kind of noticed that it has everybody facing everybody, not just our division facing our 12 facing our 12. Is this a 72 team fantasy league?
I don't think so. I think they're still kind of setting it up.
Okay, because I was going to say that's going to make the playoffs. They're going to have to start in like week 8.
Yeah, no. I think they're just slow to getting everything loaded.
I mean, I should have assumed that already with the fact that my team has no players on it and everybody else's does. So,
yeah, I tried to pick up, Derrick Henry, and there's a bunch of people on the wire.
I was like looking at it, I'm like, how come this guy's here? And I was like, oh, that's David's team.
Yeah. I went on and I put them all just to claim them just in case they don't notice that mistake. So I figured I'd hop on there and just claim everybody that I drafted. But we'll see what happens.
They got a few weeks to get it figured out.
Right.
Well, I mean, of course, I tried to take Josh Allen, and Tom Brady at the draft twice, so because there was double stickers there.
That's true.
Can't fault me for trying to cheat.
That was incredible value.
Well,
I liked how
this black book.
I liked how we didn't allow. So throughout that whole draft, if you look at it, we didn't really have anybody to make any stacks.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah, lots of sniping going on.
Yeah, with I think I'm in I think 12 leagues this year. Again, I'd been down to 7, and people just keep on saying, "Hey, David, do you want to join this?" And I just always keep saying yes. It just falls out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But in the next 2 weeks, I think half my drafts are done. The other ones are all on the next 2 Sundays. So I've gotten halfway through that black book so far, and it's given me a lot of things I hadn't thought about before. So that was nice. That was a good raffle win there for me.
Yeah, they're great. Joe PCP is an awesome guy, and it's a good team of people that put that book together.
Oh yeah. Kickers.
All right, best of luck, guys.
All right, we'll go ahead and sign out from True Serum Football. We'll talk to you guys next time, and as always, stay true.